Technique Tuesday. And yo, before we get into it, yes, this lesson's pre-recorded. But last week we had a little ipsy, so I wanted to make sure you could still hear me in this camera. Yeah, we can. We're on. Okay, welcome to Technique Tuesday. My name's Cassie. And yeah, you can call me Crazy Cassie, Classy Cassie, Sassy Cassie. You know. I'm really excited for today. I know, like, hey, one thing before we get into it, if you've been here with me through the summer, thank you guys so much for putting up with me. This is my final vacation of the summer. So yes, this is pre-recorded Cassie, but guess who's in the chat? Current Cassie or present Cassie. Holla! There she is. Yes, so this is streaming, or it's showing live. Everything I am typing in there is live. Joke? Oh, Cassie, you cracked me up. But yes, this is pre-recorded. I do have a couple questions, though, from students, which is pretty exciting. But anyway, we're here for technique. We didn't come here to dilly-dally because maybe you're here because you don't want to practice technique, and that's okay. So we're getting into a few, it's my like, I don't know what to call it, segments of something. Anyway, as I was doing some student reviews, because as you know, we have a new student review format, and I was looking for ideas of different lessons I can give people to watch, and I'm like, oh, there isn't like one place I really want someone to work on this when they're working on a song, or this. And heck, I'm like, you know what? I can do a whole technique routine out of this. So today's Technique Tuesday is if you are practicing or wanting to learn the song Hallelujah. Let me say that again. Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen. You are in the right place. You have arrived. This is where you are meant to be. I know that song is calling, and we're going to get into it right away. Let's just do a hand warm up. So yeah, maybe you've never practiced technique in your life. Maybe you're like some regulars that are here every week. And you know what? You're going to find something here for you. Hey, if this is your first time here, give me a holla in the chat or comment below if this is later on. Do some shoulder rolls. Yeah, whatever level you're at, you're going to find something for you. It might just even be a crazy circus. Some entertainment. Just kidding. We don't want to do that. Someone asked last week if cracking your knuckles has anything to do with hand or finger independence, and I don't think so. I really don't think so. Anyway. Okay, that's not what I need to look at. This is what I need to look at. So you want to play songs. Hallelujah technique routine. We did our warm-up. Now we're into it. So yes, you're here maybe because you don't want to practice technique, but you know what? Technique is the building blocks of all songs. So we are here to apply the things you need to learn so that when you get to the song Hallelujah, you're like, Hallelujah. This is no big deal. And yes, that's a different Hallelujah. Anyway, let's get to the C scale, and don't worry, we're gonna make this interesting. So, like every week, let's work out the C scale. If you've never played the C scale before, this is what you do. This is a pattern for every single major scale. So every major scale has a whole step, then a whole step, then a half step, whole, half. So, we plug in the C here. From the C, we go up a whole step, and just so you know, all these are going to be white keys. This is the easiest scale on the planet. To D. I'm not left-handed. I wish I was. Hey, let's just switch this around. I've never thought of that before, just switching it around. I'm always like, oh, how do I play the scale in my right hand and write in my right hand? Well, guess what, Cassie? You have a left hand. Sheesh. Okay, from D, we want to go up another whole step to E, and then a half step to F. Now a whole step up to G, and now we do another whole step, A, another whole step, B, and a half step, C. So yes, you could plug this into any key. Let's plug that into G. So we go up a whole step, half step, whole step, whole step. Well, here we have another whole step, so we have to add in an F sharp. That doesn't have anything to do with the C scale. It just shows you that yes, knowing this, there is some logic and some like, oh, that's kind of cool behind it. I'm anticipating lots of people watching this and not wanting to be here, so that's why I'm going to make it extra cool today. I'm not a regular teacher. I'm a cool teacher. Name that movie. It's actually, I'm not a regular mom. I'm a cool mom. Please, somebody get that movie. Anyway, okay. So that is the C scale. Let's do that again. Hey, shall we? Now, when you play this, I want it to be the most beautiful sound, beautiful scale you've ever played, because playing this scale is not just going to be about playing the notes, getting the cross under in the right spot, and then going back down. It's about melody. If you have chosen, even if you have not chosen to play the melody of this song, I practiced, I promise. If you're playing the melody, this is perfect for you because scales is like melody. So start with your thumb on C. You're going to go up by steps, cross your thumb under to F, and play up to C. That's it. And then go back down. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross your 3 over. Now, think about playing the scale, not just like, I am getting all the notes right. Good for me. Yay. No, it's about creating a melody. So when you have a melody, if you think of someone singing, they add inflection. They may slow down and then they may speed up for some intense part or something like that. But hey, I also got louder there. So let's play this a couple more times and I want you to focus on that. Show you from the side view. Make sure that your fingers still stay curved. This is what your hands hopefully look like. I don't want to see any flying fingers when you're doing the scales. I don't want to see any fingers bending back. No, no, no. Bad, bad flying fingers. Am I right? Yeah. So, get that crescendo and diminuendo. One more time. I'm going to go from the top. Now watch my wrist. I am not doing this crazy. I'm not doing this when I get to my thumb tuck because that is basically no movement in the thumb. When you do, oh, I've got marker there. When you do a thumb tuck, you want your thumb to move underneath. Okay, see how my wrist basically stays still? A little bit of a speed up and slow down. Now the left hand. Let's move that now that we have all the letters correct and straight. The left hand. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now cross your 3, and when you do the 3, it's not an elbow. It's not a chicken. Nope, we're not chickens. We're brave. Cross your 3 to A and to the C. I'll do that again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grow with it. And you crescendo to the G, or sorry, C. That is a C on the piano, not a G. And now we're gonna go back down. When we do the cross under with our thumb, don't chicken arm it. Use that thumb. Oh, sorry, I should start loud. You can even slow down. Give it a beautiful shape, a beautiful melody. So that is one thing. Now, one thing we're going to talk about with the A minor scale, because yeah, we're doing A minor. They're cousins. Guys, this is still Technique Tuesday. We're not just going to dilly-dally into a song. That's Song Sunday, which we have yet to start, if we are going to start that. No, we're here for technique. And guess what? We have a little bit of theory along the way. If you're like, wow, Cassie, you talk a lot. I sure do. I sure do. Okay, so A minor is related. It's a cousin to C. So basically, in the C scale, you take the 6th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A And now we're just going to play the C scale. Sorry. Yeah, we're going to play the C scale starting on A. It's called the natural scale. So it goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. That's it, okay? That's it. So we're gonna try this now with our right hand. What I want you to think about is transferring the weight. I've talked about this a lot. If you watched any of my student reviews from this last Friday, you'll notice I talk about a teacup a lot. And yeah, so think about balancing a teacup on your hand while you play. So it's like this. You're gonna balance and you're gonna slowly move like this. So you don't want that teacup to like get knocked off. You're gonna transfer the weight. So it's a lot like holding a teacup like on your head like this and slowly transferring the weight from foot to foot so that that teacup doesn't like fall off and break, okay? We don't want to break the teacups this time. So this will all help with like the fluid playing of getting it nice and even and nice and smooth for your melody, which we're going over. Let me get back to my camera, my side angle. Okay, so with the transferring the weight, let's go from the top here. I'm gonna do this in my left hand. Here we go. So we're gonna do a slight crescendo. And we're gonna go back down. There we go. One more time. So transfer the weight. Think there is a teacup on your hand. And then slowly going back down. Not slowly. You can do any speed you want, but transferring the weight to get the feel of the transfer. And then once you got that, we can add in, hey, let's add in maybe, okay, let's play that in the right hand again. Let's make sure the tones are even. So if you are noticing that maybe your thumb tuck is sticking out or maybe your finger 3 is like super strong, try to hold it back just a little bit to get it as smooth as possible. Okay, that's it. Now, we're actually, I know I have a little H here on the page, and you're like, Cassie, what is the H for? The N stands for natural. And the natural scale is basically just the C scale, but starting on A. With harmonic scale, we're saving that till next week. Yeah, that's right. I'm giving you a little bit of a break. And we'll talk about that next week, because next week we have another song that we're going to focus on where we actually have that applicable. Cool. Cool, cool? All right. Congratulations. You have endured the scales portion of this lesson. Big round of applause. Okay. Next, on to triads. Oh, yeah. Now, triads, you're like, do I need to do triads? Because that sounds boring. I mean, you don't have to, but they're going to help. So, triads. Now, if you've done triads before, you'll know that they're just 3 notes repeating up and up and up the piano. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. Sorry. Just getting set up here. Let's start with the solid triads. So what we're doing with solid triads, I know in the song Hallelujah, we don't have just solid triads. We have like arpeggios. We're waiting to get to arpeggios because like someone said in last Technique Tuesday, arpeggios is the goal of the lesson. I know, we're getting there. So what I want you to do is just bounce like a few times with each triad. We're gonna bounce in each inversion. So root position, we have C, E, G. And left hand. Now when you bounce these lovely triads, oh, my phone is a little wonky. Oh, oh, oh! I almost closed it off. Don't want to do that. So I want to give you a nice side view instead of it being all crazy here. Okay, so I want you to give it a nice like wrist bounce and a wrist motion. That should be good. Oh, we're almost fixed. Okay, that's fine. I'll show you from here. You know what? I'll show you from here. There we go. See this wrist motion? It's called a shock absorber. And you want to utilize it instead, or so your hands don't sound like super forced down like that. We bounce from our wrist. Shocks. It shocks the sound. It absorbs the shock of the sound. Right, future Cassie? Right. Her and I talk sometimes. We talk sometimes. Okay. Now, moving on to first inversion. I'm playing these hands together. You can play them hand separate, however you want. First inversion, as in the right hand, 1, 2, 5. Left hand, 5, 3, 1. And we're going to play this a few times to make sure all of the notes are evenly sounding together. Yeah, pretty good. If you find that they're split, like that, just bounce a few times. Use that wrist to absorb the shock. And then move over to the next inversion, the second inversion. So the second inversion has the left hand using finger 2 and the right hand using finger 3. So you're going to bounce in that a few times so that the notes don't sound split. Makes sense? Cool, cool. Okay, now you're like, Cassie, this is boring. This is just like solid triads. I didn't come here for this. No, you didn't. You came here for this. Now we're getting into the flowy broken triads, so don't worry. So the same fingers that you just used, because eventually, you know, once you start to love technique as much as I do, you'll be playing triads up and down like this. Maybe one day. We're gonna just practice them. Left hand flowing into the right hand. And you know what? Let's do no pedal right now. Whoopsies. Yes, this is what you came here for. Now if we add in pedal, oh, listen to that flow. So what you want to aim for is having your wrist follow behind each finger as you play and into the right hand. So see how my elbow comes out? It follows behind each finger, so does my right hand. I'll show you from the side the lovely flowing motion of my arms. Okay, now we're going to do that in the next inversion. So let's get one hand working by itself. 5, 3, 1 in the right hand. 1, 2, 5. And if you're like, hey, Cassie, how do I know what fingers to use? There is a download button. And the download button will show you the exact fingers to use with the triads. I'll tell you what inversion we are in. So we did root position. And now we're going to do first inversion. So 5, 3, 1, 1, 2, 5. And now we're going to move to second inversion. 5, 2, 1, 1, 3, 5. Flowing into one hand. See how my arms kind of look like, I don't know what kind of motion that would be. They're kind of opposite motion. And we're back to root position. Wow, Cassie, this is technique. Yes, it's technique. This is what technique is all about. So making it musical. Also, making it boring as heck. Just kidding, just kidding. So once you got that flow down, then you can try it in A minor. And then I'll tell you the reason why we're doing this. So A minor, guess what? All triads use the exact same fingers. So when you're in root position in C major, doing 5, 3, 1, 1, 3, 5, and then you change and do all of these other ones, it's the same exact fingers for A minor. So now we just start with A, C, E. Now we have a little moodier of a feel. First inversion. I'm repeating each one, I think, 4 times. 3, 4, back to root position. Yeah, and you can do that with solid as well. Now, the cool reason why I thought this would be cool to do is because let's say you're, hey, you know what? Here, I got it. I got Hallelujah. I have the lead sheet where you have just the chords. Maybe you're playing this version, and maybe you're playing this version with all the things. Whatever one you're doing, probably like if you're doing more so the lead sheet one. Sorry, chord sheet one, chord chart. Sheesh, Cassie. You're gonna do an improvised ending. Maybe. So maybe you've played like Hallelujah and you want to do this like really cool ending. Well, since you've practiced your triads, you can play something in that. And guess what? We're just playing the triad repeated over and over. Let's say you want to do that. I kind of want to end on a C with my right hand. Well, let's do that in first inversion, which you've practiced. And maybe you want to end on the E up here instead. Well, let's do that in second inversion. And whoever's listening to you will be like, dang, they must have practiced technique. Right? Right. So yes, let's go through this again. Scales helps melody. You're not only learning like the base building block notes of whatever song you're playing, because once you get into some pretty gnarly scales with like, I was gonna say 8 sharps, that's impossible. Like 5 sharps or flats, knowing the scale, knowing what to expect is gonna be so helpful. Adding in a crescendo and developing this beautiful fluent like scale will help you with your melodies so much. You're gonna bring out that singable line like your hand is the most beautiful singer ever. I was gonna try naming someone. I have a mind blank. Triads. They can help with, hey, hand placement on the piano. Let's say you're playing a song and you're like, my hands are tired. Well, no wonder they're tired. You're trying to play like a chord like this over and over. If you just played this triad, if you just practiced your triads and played 1, 3, 5, with your arms straight behind your wrist and like your fingers maybe shifted a little higher in the keys to keep your wrist nice and straight, hey, maybe then your hand wouldn't have hurt. There's so many possibilities. That's the benefit of triads. And of course the broken. I mean, come on, who doesn't love a broken triad? Come on. Okay, now, oh, you know what? There's one more thing with triads. And as you're practicing the left hand, because this happens so often, keep that left hand. Let's get my hair up. As quiet as possible. As quiet as possible. Because oftentimes I will hear a song. Let me rephrase that. Oftentimes I will play a song and maybe I've recorded myself, maybe I'm listening to myself, and I'm like, where the heck is the melody in that? My left hand was just like banging away, way too loud. So practice the triads of the left hand, nice and quiet. Cool, cool. Okay, guys, arpeggios. We have arrived. We have arrived at arpeggios. Okay. So arpeggios are basically just triads repeated over and over and over the piano. This is like using right hand and left hand. C, E, G, C, E, G. Okay, cool. All right, now let's start with the left hand because let's go back to this. I'm going to pull up this version. You will see in the left hand. Maybe you don't know how to read music yet and you're like, I hate sheet music. Which is often what I was like and am like too. So join the club. You see this and you're like, I don't know what that is. Well, don't worry, follow the chord things up here. That is just a broken C major arpeggio, 1 octave arpeggio. So we start with C, E, G, C, G, E. That's it. C, E, G, C, G, E. So maybe you get to Hallelujah and you're like, hey, actually, this isn't too bad. I'm going to learn the song Hallelujah. Well, make sure when you are learning this and arpeggios, we always start with 1 octave arpeggios. Start with your wrist behind each finger as it plays. Start with straight fingers, and you want to think of your fingers as spokes of a bicycle wheel. That's right. So basically your wrist is pointing your fingers in the direction of where they want to go. They're just placing them there. Rather than thinking of each finger individually, this will also help create flow. You're giving support and strength to each finger so that it matches its partner or matches the other fingers. If you can just sit here for a while, let's put the pedal down. We're just going to emphasize the C's, C's. Let that wrist go back and forth. Okay, now what about the right hand, Cassie? Well, let's get to it. I'm going to play this in A minor. So the A minor arpeggio just goes A, C, E, A. Now, if you're like me, you're right-handed, and your right hand is a lot stronger and more controlled than the left hand. So what I'm going to do is what you can do at home is play an arpeggio, a 1 octave arpeggio in the right hand. See how that feels and see what the motion looks like with your own hand once it looks like this. And then match the left hand to it. You can do A minor. See how they move in synchronicity? How they're synchronized? There we go. Now, one thing with arpeggios, it's okay that your fingers are out here in the void, as I like to call it, when you are shifting your wrist from side to side. We don't want fingers to be here normally, but in arpeggios, it's okay, because it means your wrist is leaned in to support your other fingers. Okay, so again, pretty easy with arpeggios. All I recommend to do is you can practice moving between C and A minor, because that is the opening of this song. Sometimes I will tell you, sometimes I use finger 4 in the middle here instead of finger 3. To each his own. Make sure you pedal and fully clear. Yes, so if this is what you practice for your technique every day, perfect. Just make sure you're playing with proper technique. Use that wrist to follow behind each finger. I think I did an extra version there. Listen to that ending. She must have practiced her technique. I did. Okay, so that is an arpeggio. Okay, now, final challenge. Final challenge, final challenge. Right hand arpeggios. We're gonna get ready to set up for an arpeggio in the right hand. Now, if you've enjoyed yourself so far, you're gonna love this too. Don't worry. If you're a regular, you know what's coming up. It's not Mozart, it's not Haydn, it's not Beethoven, it's Chopin! the Chopin fingering way. The Chopin way. Anyway, Chopin, I don't know if he made up this finger pattern, whatever it is, I'm going to go by this. If you've done my piano technique made easy pack, which I'm going to tell you about again at the end of this, you'll know that I use this a lot because the way it fits under your fingers when you want to do like this big long run makes it sound a lot less effortless. Nope. So makes it sound like it's got a lot less effort. It makes it sound effortless, not less effortless. Come on, Cassie. Come on. So, normal finger patterns, which are taught here still at piano, I do not say they're wrong, they're just different. They go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back down. And you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I did not come here to learn this. Don't worry. You're gonna learn it a different way. We're gonna go 2, 4, 1. That's it, okay? 2, 4, 1. Or, sorry, that was A, C, E. That's A minor. Well, guess what? C major is the same. C, E, G, 2, 4, 1. If you can play 3 fingers, you can play these arpeggios. Let's play this in C major. We're going to play 2, 4, thumb cross to 1. Nope, thumb cross to G. That's the right word. And then we're going to play that again. 2, 4, 1 to G. 2, 4, 1 to G. Should we keep going? Now let's stop there. Now we're going back down. 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2. Now, as you are playing this, use your elbow out to guide your hand, like by pulling it along. If you're doing this, sorry, like this, and we do the chicken arms, no, we're not chickens. We're not chickens. We have our elbow out the whole time, like ironing. Or if you're thinking of like going down, next time you go down a staircase, hold on to the handrail. It's like that, like going down the stairs, ironing. I do the ironing. Now the reason we use this finger pattern is because we utilize the longest stretch of our fingers in the largest span of keys. So with this other way, we're doing this cross under where we have to go up a fourth or like skip 2 notes in between. And both things combined can just wreak havoc because we have to do that cross under, which can be thumpy sometimes and we may not reach it. Anyway, this other pattern goes 2, 4, our thumb can cross under just at this little skip. And then the biggest span where our 1 and 2 can stretch, well, that's the biggest span of keys there. Okay, so let's recap and review. I wish I had like a song for everything. I mean, I do, it just doesn't sound good. Okay, guys, we're done. We're done practicing technique. Now we're just gonna talk about it a little bit more. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me today, especially if you hate technique. Because yes, I'm often this crazy and I'm often like this. We have a lot of fun at Technique Tuesday. Isn't that right, Cassie? In the chat? Chat, Cassie? She tells the truth. Okay, so you came here because you're practicing Hallelujah, or you're here because you love technique, or you're here because it's Technique Tuesday, and you're like, let's get this over with. So, we did a hand and shoulder roll, warm up. Great thing to do, get the blood flowing. We did some scales. Now, one thing I forgot to mention while working on scales, a couple things actually, part of your homework, is to play a scale, emphasizing by counting to 6 and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why? Because Hallelujah is in 6/8. That means there are 6/8 notes in every measure, so you'd be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Emphasize, emphasize, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is what that is. You can also do the arpeggios or triads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like that. You can also practice playing solid triads in the left hand or broken while playing a scale or something in the right hand. So a good or the reason for this is because we want to learn to have, again, that left hand quiet in the background while bringing out this beautiful melody in the right hand. You could do it with A minor. Pretty cool, huh? Wow, Cassie, you are making this like just the best darn technique practice I've ever had. Well, thanks, Cassie. I know that's what you guys are thinking. So, homework, make your scales as beautiful as possible. Let that right hand or left hand sing. Build it up with a crescendo, die it away with a diminuendo. You can even add a little speed up, and then you can take it back and slow down. See what I did there? The other thing you can do is play with triads. Cool. Triads flow into each other. Awesome. Arpeggios. Use that right hand. I call it a buffer, or like the goal, or the guide. Maybe the right hand can like guide the left hand as to what you want the motion to be. But don't forget to use that elbow and use that wrist rotation to really get into each note with the fingers. Whoopsies. You can move it to A minor, back to C major. And yes, I know in this song we also have F major and G major, back to C major. So there's lots of different ideas you can use with that, a progression or just sit in one spot. But I also would love you to try that right hand. What, got something sizzling back there? Try that right hand with arpeggio, the Chopin pattern. Okay? Cool. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me. We have one question. Thank you, Lance, for sending this in, and I have a video for us to watch. So this is the portion of the live lessons where normally we do like a, back and forth. You ask a question, I try to give you an answer. This was pre-submitted, so this is why we have a question. You know what? Actually, Cassie in the chat is also going to be hanging around for a little bit to answer some questions if she can, or she'll take them down and answer them next live lesson. Okay, I'm trying to get this over here. Why isn't this working? Oh, let's go back here. Close, close. I'll let you watch me struggle here as I try to get this on my other screen. Oh, I think I got it. I literally threw it over to the other screen. Okay, so this question was submitted by Lance, and he was wondering what the heck is going on with this guy's left hand. It's pretty cool. So we're gonna watch from the beginning. Watch this guy's left hand. It's crazy. So basically he's like, okay, look at this part here. It starts off with it looks like he's shaking someone's hand. It's so loose, just kind of moving back and forth. It's not just about the fingers. He heard it was said in the past, not in the past, by someone else that using your whole arm and body is a good idea for tension. Let's enjoy a little bit more of Gene here, because he's insane. For one, I'm like, come on, Gene. Come on. Okay, so yes, Lance was wondering how indeed that guy's hand moves so fast, and what can we do to get our hands as fast like that? Let me go to the actual question here. Inbox. Okay, he says, I've been practicing some left-hand bass patterns, and I've noticed that once I start having the rhythm down, I can sort of play it. My hand is getting tired pretty quickly. So that is opposed to learning the pattern, which I do for hours. So he can learn a pattern, totally fine. Once he starts playing it, his hand hurts. Wondering what to do there. I remember reading a book on boogie woogie. The guy in the book says, you're going to be playing a bass line for 5 hours a night. You better find the most comfortable, relaxing way to do it. It's like he's holding his hand at the beginning of a handshake and looks quite comfortable. What's happening here? And then he goes on to say there are some people dissing Hannon out there. Just kidding, I'm fine with that. Oh yes, he said there was an instructor saying that it wasn't enough to have finger dexterity. You wanted to center the arm and use the forearm/wrist pivots so your bone structure delivers a lot of the power behind the notes instead of just hand muscles. Yes. Oh, and then he started talking smack about Hannon. Totally fine. Okay, can you talk about an effective way to build hand endurance for playing patterns for extended lengths of time, and how to use more of our body to take some of the strain off the hand? How do we break down the wrist-arm motions, or we shouldn't think about it that hard and keep practicing until it's easier? Well, I mean, yes, eventually you won't have to think about it, but also it's good to get that structure behind. And I know someone else asked a question that was like, Cassie, why do you keep saying to practice in slow motion? Because that can just develop bad habits and over-exaggerated habits. I talk about that wrist shock absorbing. Well, let's say you want to play your triads really fast. You're not going to be able to do all those crazy big motions. What this does, like practicing slow with those exaggerated motions and really thinking and being intentional about it, is it gets into our brain to stay relaxed. Then we go back and play it like just a small portion at a time. So what that guy was doing, like I saw him, I can't even play what he was playing. I don't know what he was playing. But yeah, he started off with like a handshake like this because he is using his arm to play that finger 5. It's not just in the fingers because, again, like we utilize our wrists to play arpeggios, it's not just about, I mean, playing C, E, G, even just this will get really tiring after a while. So doing this won't, or not as much. I'm using a little bit of wrist motion there. Now to practice this type of wrist motion, I would start off with doing the broken triads and doing an exaggerated wrist roll. And eventually my movements get refined, and even though I don't think about it as much, it's like it kind of becomes second nature to keep my hand relaxed as I'm playing. So yeah, eventually it's not all like, okay, I gotta like really loosen up here as you're like going through this crazy boogie woogie pattern. It's just your body like relaxing in the motions because it's comfortable and it knows from repetitive practicing and from doing like drill motions to just like learn to stay relaxed, especially because you've built up like the finger strength to get there. I hope I said everything that I wanted to. I think there was a little more that I had wanted to say. Future Cassie, can you add anything to that? Cool. It's going to be a lot that she wants to add. So if any of you have questions, any more that you want me to answer, stick around. I'll be in the chat. Such your current Cassie, your present Cassie will be in the chat. And anything else I will answer next Technique Tuesday on the 23rd. Wow, this summer's flying. Thank you guys for joining me. Again, I will be back live next week. Have a wonderful week. And happy practicing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I can't close this down. Oh, here we go.